What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 31 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller. Some real serious business here today, guys.
Is it?
There's not.
We're talking about video games.
I just started it in this voice.
I know.
Oh, you did it in the series.
It's like an episode of 60 Minutes.
Kind of kept doing it. I don't know. I just ran with it. There is some serious stuff, though. Seriously cool news about volume.
Oh.
Here you have the poster over here.
Oh.
Our boy Mike Bithell. You guys did a really good job last week of tweeting at
Volume game.
Volume Game on Twitter and tweeting at Mike Bithell also, just saying, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? And all that stuff.
Are you being facetious, or did this really happen?
No, there's been. I don't know if you guys saw. I guess I was tagged a lot because I was the one that
I muted Mike Bithell in Volume Game.
Don't do that.
No, I'm joking.
No, it's a total joke. So,
Give me
Volume.
my goddamn code, though, Mike.
No, he's going to get it. It's going to be good because the game, it's a stealth game coming August 18th to PlayStation 4, PS Vita, PC, and Mac. From the creator of Thomas Was Alone, Volume combines a core story starring Andy Serkis and Danny Wallace with an editor that lets you make and play content as a part of a community of stealth game fans. For more information, follow at Volume Game on Twitter. So yeah, again, go do that. Tell them that at Tim Gettys sent you. And I just want to keep seeing these things come in.
Good.
Keep favoriting them.
We love
That's
Mike
what I do.
Bithell. Good
We
dude.
do.
Thanks for the support.
He's such a good dude.
A patron, just like many of you.
Something I've seen is the people that are tweeting at him. I've seen him respond to a lot of them.
Yeah, Mike's a good dude.
He's a
Mike's a good
responder.
dude, man.
First responder.
Is he? Is that what that term means?
I think that's what that term meant.
You're really good at responding on Twitter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's damn good. Damn good. So, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Every week we talk about video games and other stuff too. Mainly video games, though. Every once in a while we talk about video game themed things, like a video game baby name, or eventually one of the Patreon topics. Not this episode, but coming up is video game weddings. I didn't want to do it too soon to that. So,
Gotcha,
but that's
because
just a little
babies lead to
preview.
weddings usually.
Babies do lead to weddings.
Shotgun weddings.
That's a damn things. Sometimes things get dark. on the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Want to name your baby Zelda?
You get to the altar, youngin!
Yes. So every week this show comes out. New episodes on Friday, but Monday through Thursday over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You get the breakouts, topic by topic. The full episode Friday, you can get it the previous Friday early, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. I'm getting okay at this, Greg. Every week's different.
I
though.
know. You
I
gotta
don't
just
have,
find
like,
something you like
I don't
and
got
knock
a
it out.
standard thing. I got to figure it out. You're good though, like, because you get that intro down, and then you just get it in your head.
And then I just forget everything that happens in between there.
Yeah.
And I just
But you stick to it. You're
intros,
good.
outros, I got them.
Me, but I'm getting to the point where it sounds like I know what I'm talking
Sure.
about, which is good. It only
Yeah.
took 31 episodes.
Fake it till you make it.
I'm real good at that.
That was a hard one, huh?
That
That
was
was good.
solid.
That was good. That was good.
That
I
was
appreciate
real,
that.
real
It
solid.
hurt me more than it hurt you. I guarantee it.
So, first topic of discussion today is game compilations. Now, the reason I bring this up is a couple days ago, me and Colin did a bunch of Let's Plays on this game called Rare Replay.
Ah, yes.
You might have heard of it. 30 rare games, $30. It's on the Xbox One. It's real good, ranging from pre-NES era, back when they were called...
I don't even remember anymore.
Damn, I don't
I'm
remember.
going to look it up.
It's like some Ultra Game Company dudes or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
really
that.
Ultra Game
ridiculous.
Company dudes.
They'll figure it out.
I'm
But
going to get it right now.
ranging from that all the way through that, there's NES games, there's SNES, there's N64, Xbox One games? Yeah, I guess there is. And 360 games on that business.
Yeah.
And
That's a good compilation. They got a whole bunch of good stuff on there.
It is.
Perfect Dark, Banjo Kazooie, Viva Pinata.
Ultimate Play the Game.
Ultimate Play the Game.
Ultimate Play the Game.
Great company.
What a terrible name.
Yeah.
Ultimate Play the Game, often shortened to Ultimate, was a critically acclaimed video game developer of the early home computer era.
There you know. Now you know everything. So here's the thing. We were doing it kind of chronologically as we went through. These Let's Plays, by the time you're hearing this, I'm not exactly sure.
Patreon.
Yeah. It'll be coming up.
/kind of funny games. They'll be the Monday, Tuesday.
No, they won't be. We're making a change.
You son of a bitch.
They're
The
probably
schedule.
going to be
I saw
the Tuesday,
schedule.
Wednesday. I know, but we're changing the schedule now because we're doing
Oh, the other
a
thing
Let's
with
Play
the
for
wink
another
wink.
thing
The embargo on Monday.
Secret stuff.
The schedule has been changed.
Monday Let's Play will be exciting nonetheless. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at the very least, will be Rare Replay Let's Plays.
Okay.
Maybe a Friday one, I'm going to assume.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell them right now. The Tuesday, we got all the games leading up to the NES. Then Wednesday is going to be all the NES games except for Battletoads. Because Thursday is Battletoads.
Oh, Battletoads gets its own thing. Because are you going to beat it? You going to beat it one
Fuck
sitting?
no.
You going to beat it with one life?
No way. You should have seen me playing some of these games. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like the Ultimate Play the Game, whatever the fuck it was called. games. I had never even heard of these games.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even I honestly thought that Rare started around the Slalom era, so like the mid '80s. But they really, and Rare did start at that point. But they included all of their pre-Rare games when the founders were at that different studio. So there's the games like Jetpack and Solar Jetman and stuff, and like or not Solar Jetman, because Solar Jetman was the NES game. There was a
something other
Lunar
Lunar
Jetman.
Jetman.
Yeah.
And I was competent at a couple of the games, pretty terrible at most of those early those like Commodore games or whatever the fuck they were running on at the time. Not my finest moment, but we went through each game. We only played each for like 2 or 3 minutes at the most. Then the NES ones we played Slalom, which I wasn't very good at, RC Pro Am, which I wasn't very good at. What was I good at? I don't even know. I don't remember. I was okay at Cobra Triangle. Snake Rattle and Roll was okay.
Gunfight, is that what it's called?
Oh, Gunfight was Gunfight was the interesting pre-Slalom game. Anyway, the point is that I fondly remember, especially Cobra Triangle, and I'm like, man, I don't have the chops for these games anymore. It's been a long time, but we used to get to show them all off.
Yeah.
Which is cool, so people kind of introduce themselves. And a third, I gotta be honest, man, because I know that's what we're talking about. Rare Replay is such a great value.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it really is. Now, what's cool to me about this, the reason I decided to make this a topic today is I feel like they nailed it in a way that I can't remember any other compilation of games nailing it. The presentation is on fleek, as the kids say. What's this face, Greg?
I feel like you're forgetting about the Sega Genesis collection, which isn't a joke. That one that we all platinumed on PS3, Xbox 360.
This is way more impressive.
This is different. I mean, that's great. It is.
I'm just saying they had great presentation there too.
Yeah, but this presentation is like, it's
different.
real next level, and
Okay.
it's real good.
Explain to me what's so great about it.
So what's great about it, I think that they nailed it in many different ways that are very interesting to me, because a lot of these games I'm not interested in at all. Like, so many of them are so old and so just like, ugh. They're like, I would never even wanted to look at, let alone play.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we did a Let's Play of them where the point was playing through all the ones we don't necessarily want to play, but the presentation of the games makes you interested in the history. They do a good job of presenting the history of Rare, how you go through all this stuff, and they entice you to play it with all their different modes and stuff. So there's this thing called snapshots. I think that's what it's called. It's not Snapchats. I kept fucking that up.
Yeah, it's something like snapshots. Yeah.
Snapshots where they take bits of the game, like the bit that everyone thinks of with that game.
Gotcha.
And they have you play through it, and they'll kind of change up the mode. For example, in Battletoads, one of the snapshots is the speeder bike level.
Sure.
But it's more of an endless runner instead of being
nice.
a level you can actually beat.
Okay.
So it's more of a face-off against your friends, see how far you can get thing. I like that. I like that they went back and thought, what made this game special? Memorable? Like, what is the thing people think of when they think of this game? Let's expand on that a bit. In addition to that, the borders around the games are beautiful. And they took a lot of the original artwork from the box art or from whatever, and kind of put it around, because a lot of these games are 4:3.
Sure.
And a lot of the times when I see this stuff, it kind of, like, I remember back with the Super Game Boy, they did this, and it got in the way. It never looked that good, and it was always just kind of like distracting and shit. This one too, it does have some things that aren't exactly perfect. Like, there's modes we didn't do this in Let's Plays, but I was watching YouTube videos. You can change it so that you get with the weird CRT, like scan lines and all that stuff, and it's like that gets a little gimmicky. But I like that the option's there. Mm-hmm. But I feel like all the stuff we did with the borders and all that, and there's just like trivia about the games, and there's a lot of information. It's kind of like going on Wikipedia as you're playing the games, which is cool. You know how many players are in it, what the plot of the game is, if there is any, and like just little facts and stuff.
So this is a really... Did you ever... I had to look it up because I can only remember Final Fight. Do you remember Final Fight Double Impact? And it came with the magic sword. I reviewed this game, by the way. I can only remember Final Fight, but it was the same thing where it was so well done of trivia, and if you wanted to play it, you could make it look like the arcade cabinet. You could put it in like the bubble that you're looking at a screen with the arcade stuff around, and you could take that away. You could do this, you could do that, like those kind of tips, like even tricks, I guess, to make it look different, right?
I never played that.
Okay,
but yeah, it's
similar.
But what I like about it is that, and I've seen other compilations do those things, like those little tricks. But what's cool about this is it all kind of melds together. There's an aesthetic to Rare Replay itself. That it's like this whole theater thing, and we skipped this too, but there's like a weird intro cutscene thing where it's like they really present it kind of like a super wacky musical thing, which is very reminiscent of Rare, of Banjo-Kazooie, of things like that. Overall, it's just like playing it, I'm like, man, like there was a lot of love put into this.
Is this the best compilation of all time?
I mean, no, because Super Mario All-Stars exists. But it's damn good. Yeah. And I think what's really cool about it is, I'm saying this not even based solely on the quality of the games. Like, the games that we played, they weren't good. Most of them.
Yeah.
if any of them. Well, some of the NES ones were good, but like the pre-NES games, I mean, they were distracting, if anything. Like there was so much colors, and it wasn't even music; it was just sounds. And it was like, what did I describe it as? Just a cacophony of noise and just.
It was very colorful. That's the thing I remember us talking about the most was the aesthetic. The palette was very colorful. I think that it might be the most impressive collection I've ever played because. Yeah, what was very en vogue on PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011 was releasing old games, kind of putting a border around them, maybe a little bit of trivia, some art, some key art or whatever, and then you just kind of go about your business, you play the game. They don't typically hold up as well as you remember, as is the case with Rare Replay, and then you move on. I think what's really cool about Rare Replay, what is so impressive, there's multiple things, is that, A, it's priced really appropriately. It's 30 games for $30. I think that's really, really cool. And I'm not entirely positive that they're going to be making money on this collection because it's not going to sell that well. And they had to put a lot of time into it and porting these games over and QAing them. This seemed like a labor of love. This seems like something that they needed to do because Rare has fallen so far from grace that the only thing you can really do at this point with them is just celebrate their past, because I think that their best days are clearly behind them. I don't care about like the things they're making now. It's just like they're not going to recapture this essence because none of those people are here anymore. So they're working on, Ukulele and all these other games. So I really appreciate that. I do appreciate the unified aesthetic and the challenges. There's a fucking bajillion achievements attached to these games. And it's cool to see. Not a lot of studios have this chronology that you can follow from beginning to end that is that impressive. When you really sit down and think about it, Rare is really one of the few studios that really has a chronology that's that long and uninterrupted. And one of the weird things to me is seeing some of the games that are on it, especially from the N64 era and beyond, that you that I'm like, wow, this is so weird. Like it's like I see this as an N64 game.
Yeah,
like why is
so
this on
crazy.
why is this on Xbox One? But it's there and it's cool, and I think it's a really, again, a labor of love. This goes back to what Microsoft's been doing, I think, which is just they're doing a lot of things that are right, and they own Rare. They realize that people largely look at Rare as a complete shell and of that it's not Rare anymore, and it isn't. So yeah, you celebrate those old times, and I think that that's really cool. And I think it's just so strange going back and playing these games. And a lot of people, there's games that are missing that I'm curious why they're missing. Like Wizards and Warriors is a huge example, but which I think they made by themselves. But I don't know if there's some sort of collaboration. My assumption is that Nintendo published that game. But nonetheless, I think it's really cool to kind of follow them from the embryonic kind of zygote. And all the way to like what they really became, and they really hit their stride in like 2000, 2001, I think. So before Microsoft bought them, when they basically ruined them. So it's fun. And I actually think in terms of volume, it is the best collection that I've ever seen. In terms of quality of games and the games I want to play, Super Mario All-Stars, of course, probably with the winner. Mega Man collection is probably going to be up there too. Even that obscure Ninja Gaiden collection on Super Nintendo. There's a lot of collections out there.
I was digging through it online there while you're talking. I couldn't find exactly, but I remember there was one awesome Atari collection that had the timeline of all the games that had happened. When you hit milestones in games, it would unlock, like it unlocked, like when you played the NHL game, it unlocked the Phil Hartman commercial that you could go watch in their archives and stuff.
Awesome.
I want to say it was on PlayStation 2. It might have been PS3, but there's a million different compilations out there, that kind of stuff. That's cool. Like anything that embraces the nostalgia of like, this is more than just the games. It's talking about the time of the game, showing you things from then. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, I think that's something that consistently as we were playing, we kept getting surprised by things popping up, like the achievements and like just not even achievements, but like the different menus and stuff that we'd get. Like they weren't achievements, but we were getting some type of weird unlock thing going on.
Yeah, they're like stamps almost. Or
yeah.
something, yeah,
and it's like you just kind of see it looks like the evolution where there's like the monkey turning into the thing or
sure,
whatever.
sure.
But it was that. It was like all the characters from Rare, and it's like that's cool. And like you unlock videos and commercials and all that.
That's
weird
really
stuff.
cool. Yeah.
And what's interesting to me about this is I came into Rare very late in the game compared to you, because like I didn't know any of these things. Like I knew Battletoads was on Rare, what was made by Rare and on NES, but I didn't really play it back then, and I didn't know Battletoads was Rare until it's been in the news recently, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because to me, Rare was Donkey Kong Country, James Bond, Perfect Dark, Banjo,
that awesome N64 run,
and then all that stuff. So for the key Rare games for me to not be in this collection and for me to still look at it and be like, oh, this is cool, is very interesting. And I like it because the presentation made me interested in their history more than the games did. Because like Lunar Jumpman or whatever the hell, it's like, wow, like these are not cool. But I had fun going through them. And I feel like that's kind of a very key thing for compilations to get right, is to make you want to play the games you don't want to play. Like, because obviously you want to play the ones you want to, but it's like, are you going to give the ones you don't a try? And are they doing a good enough job of giving you reason to try them and trying to ease you into it? I think the snapshot thing is like the best way to do that. We didn't need to just jump in and play the game. We could have just got the highlight of it, and that's awesome.
That's a really cool idea. That's a really cool idea.
And it's great. And then if you like it, then go and play it. And
Yeah.
like maybe there's an element there. And that's another thing that was really cool is seeing all these old games and being like, oh wow, like this sucks. But this aspect of it, like there's a day-night cycle in this. This is fucking made in the 1800s. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was what was cool about, and that's what we were talking a lot about on the Let's Plays. It's just like these again disparate elements of these games that are like really well ahead of their time. You can see like a day-night cycle, for instance, in a game that was made in 1983 or 1984 is pretty cool and really pretty unheard of. So yeah, it's cool to kind of go back through the genetics of a studio like that. And again, there's just not many ways to do it with studios that a lot of studios are not. Including the games that they made, that studio is like 32, 33 years old, including the pre-rare kind of days, and it's fun. It's disappointing that you can't get GoldenEye in there and stuff like that, and the Nintendo published properties and other things like that. But it's still very impressive. All things considered, they put out a lot of fucking games, man, and it's so sad to see. It makes me sad too playing that to see like what happened to them and how they were just thrown away, basically, and not they didn't extract as much as they could have out of them. And they're trying to get back to that point with a new generation of people at Rare. But yeah, it was cool, and I was really super impressed with it. And I have to give Microsoft so much credit for it because I think that it was really a labor of love. I don't think this was something they did to make money, and I don't think this was something that they
a goodwill gesture.
It was a way for them to be like, we hear you about Rare, we hear you loud and clear, and we're going to celebrate these great games. We own these IP, and hopefully maybe they'll even look at the data of some behind the scenes.
I think that's the
and
thing,
see what people are playing.
I think they look at this and they're like, Microsoft's never had that stable of characters that you're like Xbox. PlayStation, what?
Master Chief.
No, yes, Master Chief. And Marcus Phoenix, and you're like
Stubbs the zombie,
and Stubbs the goddamn zombie, and Blinks the cat. Let's get him in there; it'll be a grand old time. But like they've never had that stable of characters and stuff, and I feel like this is them kind of, and like the last couple of conferences we've kept seeing hints of Battletoads, and we keep hearing this, and people now think Rare Microsoft. Like we no longer think Rare Nintendo. And that's cool, like, because for the longest time, even with Xbox 360 and like when Perfect Dark Zero and stuff was coming out, it was still like, no, it's Nintendo. It's still Nintendo. But then now it's like, no, it's totally not. Like, all these things are Xbox, and it'll be interesting to see what the
future is and what they have them do.
Yeah,
it's been incredible. I mean, that was one of the things we remarked on one of the videos. Was like, man, Microsoft bought Rare 13 years ago. We've really been bitching about this for a very long time at this point. And it's just crazy how time flies. But again, it's cool to see companies take risks like this or just do cool things for the fans without the expectation of an economic. Because I can't imagine they're looking at this being like, charge half as amount of money as we would a normal retail game. I'm not saying this costs them millions and millions of dollars, but they have to publish it. They have to figure all these things out, QA, put achievements. I mean, this isn't an easy and trivial thing for them to do. It's certainly not. So I really think that they did this with the eyes on the fans, and that seems to be a common theme with what Microsoft's been doing since the disastrous Xbox One rollout in 2013. So, because they have to get back on top, and I feel like this is a good move for them because what they have with this studio that no one else has is a fucking really old developer. Indeed, out of the three hardware manufacturers, Rare is the oldest developer in any of those first-party stables, and might be like when you really, I'd have to really think about it, but might be the oldest, if not one of the oldest studios that still exists. That has a heritage that old. I mean, they are fucking old. And so it's cool to be able to celebrate that.
Is there any other, going off of a replay, is there any compilations that you guys feel nailed it?
Yeah, the ones I mentioned.
I mean, what about you?
I get it.
But besides those, I'm saying other ones, like more modern ones.
I think the I was going to say it's not modern. The content's not modern, but the Sega Genesis collection was really cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't anywhere near on the level of Rare Replay in terms of its
now that you talked about it, explain what Rare Replay is.
But I thought that was really cool because that did celebrate. We make fun of a Genesis, but it's, or at least I do. But there are good games on it, and some of those games I had never played sucked me in. Some of those other games that I remember more fondly, like Comic Zone, I played, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this game's really not good at all. But it was cool to be able to celebrate a lineage of a piece of hardware like that, just like Microsoft celebrated the lineage of a specific developer. I hope that others look at this and see like that they can do this. I would love to see what PlayStation or Nintendo can do, not necessarily with one specific developer, because I don't think none of them have a lineage like this. Maybe Naughty Dog or something. But actually, Naughty Dog is almost as old as Rare. So there's a good example. Naughty Dog is as old as Rare. So there's an example. Maybe they could do that. But then you have all these things like EA published Naughty Dog's Genesis games and some of their
Crash
self-publishing.
Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. So it's gonna be very like you'd be able to do it, but really the Naughty Dog collection would just be everything after Sony bought them. So it'd be like Jack and Daxter, and then Uncharted.
There's already an Uncharted collection.
Yeah. So it would be cool if more in the line with the Sega Genesis collection. It would be cool for them to be like, what are some of the great games we could publish and get some developers on board, some publishers working together to do something like that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So hopefully. Rare Replay is cool by itself. I think people should be really excited about it because I think it's really great. But I also think that hopefully it's something others can learn from.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember thinking back to, like I mentioned, Mario All-Stars. I love that cart. Like that, if I had to choose one cart, is my favorite game of all time. Like it's perfect, you know? And then I remember when it was Mario's 20th anniversary, right? They released it on the Wii. And they just...
Yeah, that red box.
It was the box was great and all the stuff was great. And then the game was just a ROM dump of All-Stars. And it's like, that is... shitty. That is the laziest thing they could have possibly done. Because imagine a Mario compilation done right. You know, the Rare Replay style. If you got all the way from Mario Bros, even if it ended at like Sunshine, you know, or Galaxy would be ideal. But like whatever it is, like that would be awesome.
The beauty is that they own all those games, so there's no hoops to jump through and different publishers to deal with like they did with Rare Replay. What I'm kind of curious about is behind the scenes thing with Rare Replay. Did they try to get some of these games? And I'm not necessarily even talking about Donkey Kong because I don't think that would make any sense. But something like GoldenEye, like did they?
For sure they tried. Yeah, you have to imagine those conversations happen.
But it would have even been cool to see Donkey Kong. You know, like if Nintendo was down with that and been like, yeah, like pass and we have these ROMs here and stuff like that. But there's not that kind of.
That would be insane.
Publishers don't work with each other like that.
Yeah.